face that. Kong can't stop this on his own.
He won't be alone.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2024 film Godzilla, Kong, The New Empire. The film is directed by Adam Wingard and it stars Rebecca Hall, Brian Tyree Henry, Dan Stevens and Kaylee Hottle. Right, this time the film focuses initially and primarily on Kong. He is still living his best life on Skull Island. He is still the king of the island, but he's lonely, so he's kind of exploring, hoping to kind of find more of his kind, or certainly something to connect to. While on the surface there is a strange signal, almost like an SOS. Godzilla has picked this up and he's definitely got the humans worried, because Godzilla is trying to get himself powered up, and the humans figure out that the last time Godzilla did this, he basically was going up against something that nearly destroyed him. Back on Skull Island, Kong's got a bad tooth. He goes to the surface. The humans help him because they're all friends now. And once he goes back to Skull Island, the humans join him, a group of humans. We've got Rebecca Hall's character, Dan Stevens' character, Brian Tyree Henry, and Rebecca Hall's daughter. They figure out what's going on Skull Island, and there is indeed a huge threat to humankind. There is another giant ape, an evil giant ape, and another huge titan that could bring about the next ice age. Right, what are my thoughts on Godzilla, Kong, The New Empire? Well, generally speaking, I've really enjoyed, for the most part, these Godzilla and Kong movies, apart from the first one. I have tried multiple times to rewatch and enjoy the first Godzilla film, and I just can't. I just find it too dull. That's just the way it is. But ever since then, all the ones that have been put to screen, and by that I mean Kong, Skull Island, Godzilla, King of Monsters, Godzilla vs. Kong, and now this one, I have to say I've enjoyed pretty much all of them since. I haven't seen the Monarch TV show, so I can't comment on that. And this one really is no different. I think this is an enjoyable cinema popcorn experience. It's not one to really go in and overanalyze or anything like that. It's a fun experience at the cinema to watch, and you know, I really did have a fun time with this film. I think the weakness of this franchise, if you like, or series of films is, in my opinion, has always been the human characters. They've always been a bit part. You've never really had anything to root for with the human characters. Very, very little anyway. Just crumbs thrown, really. And I felt a little bit different this time. I think quite wisely they scaled back the human element in this film. So you really only get like Rebecca Hall's character, and then Brian Tyree Henry's, Dan Stevens, Rebecca Hall's daughter, and another chappie who go to Skull Island. Those are generally the human elements of this film, so they've wisely scaled it back, and introduced Dan Stevens' character here, who, you know, is got quite a bit of charisma. And you've got Brian Tyree Henry's character, who was in the last one, again bringing a bit of humour to the preceding sort of thing, and it works. It makes the circle of humans a bit tighter in a sense, you know. It doesn't spread them too thin, and the film then wisely focuses on the true stars of this film, which is Kong and Godzilla, and I have to say primarily Kong. Now, Adam Wingard has gone on record as saying that he prefers Kong over Godzilla. He believes that you can do more with the Kong character, and I agree with him there. And they have made Kong more relatable in this film. You see a little bit more emotion from him. You get the impression that he's lonely, that he wants to connect. He's made like an uneasy alliance with the humans, and you care for him when he's injured. All this kind of stuff. I think they did a really good job with Kong in this one, and for me, he's the star of this film, Kong. Which is fine because Godzilla has had a few of his own, obviously, and that's not to say that Godzilla is like a bit part character in his own movie, because he really isn't. He's got a huge part to play in this film. And again, they both just look spectacular on screen. I think the effects here knocked it out of the park. I know everybody's been going on about Godzilla -1, and I'm, sad to say I haven't seen that film yet. I do intend to watch it. I just haven't had chance or had time to check it out yet. Everyone kind of raves on about that being like, an absolutely brilliant Godzilla film. And I'm sure it is. I'm sure I will agree when I see it. But I have to say, I thought this was tremendous. I mean, it was good fun. They changed it up enough to make this interesting, because there's only so many Titans you can put in front of Godzilla and Kong, and you kind of just lose interest, if you like. And this time round, they've kind of made it so that there's a bad version of Kong, and in a lot of ways, the anti-version of Godzilla, with this huge Titan that kind of breathes ice, sort of thing. It's cleverly done how they do it, and I like the way they kind of built the confrontation between, these two kind of, opposing factions. I didn't necessarily buy the, Godzilla needs to power up big time because this is the biggest threat he's ever had to face. Really? Bigger than the threat he faced in King of Monsters? Bigger than the threat he faced in Godzilla vs. Kong? I didn't buy that element of the film. It felt like the stakes were a bit higher. Well, they're up, man. Cinematically so. The stakes felt a bit higher in those other movies. But I really liked the way that much of the film was back on Skull Island, because I really enjoyed Kong Skull Island. It's arguably my favourite film of this series of films. So I was really delighted to see us back on Skull Island. And, the fact that Kong is kind of trying to build this relationship with this young ape, which I thought was quite a nice arc for the Kong character, and it worked pretty well for the film. I definitely enjoyed this. When it gets down to the these huge giant creatures kicking the hell out of each other, the film doesn't disappoint. The film looks absolutely outstanding, and I didn't dislike the human elements of the film, which I can't really say about. And to be honest, I couldn't really, other than Bryan Cranston in the first one, I couldn't honestly give you like any of the human characters from any of the films that I actually gave a monkey's about, any of the other ones. And I know that's not what these films are about, but other than the Kong one as well, there were some interesting characters in that. But beyond that, there's very few human characters in these movies that you actually give a hoot about, and I think this film did a decent job of actually giving us that. So I do take my hat off for them. That's always my worry going into these movies. They're always generally fun and enjoyable, good popcorn films, but you struggle to kind of connect with them. So yeah, I had a good time with this one at the cinema. I think it's definitely arguably right up there with the better ones in this franchise, and I'm definitely looking forward to more. I'm actually considering going and checking out the Monarch TV show as well, so let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on the TV show, and I will of course be back with plenty more reviews and content on the channel very, very soon.